Hei! Tervetuloa Vitsit Sikseen podcastin pariin. Minä olen Heikki Vilja ja nyt on meillä jännittävä jakso, koska mä oon viimein saanut vieraksi tänne, kuulkaa, Jamie MacDonaldin.
Moikka.
Tervetuloa. Ja tästä tulee tällainen sekakielijakso.
Varmasti joo, koska mun suomen kielen taito on vähän siis paskaa, mutta kuitenkin on tarpeeksi hyvä, että tämä on mahdollista tehdä.
Niin. Ja siis onhan toi nyt hyvä suomen kielen taito, että se kuuluu kuin Rei yrittää. Hän on asunut täällä kuitenkin yli 10 vuotta, mutta ei ole oikein oppinut mitään.
Niin. No.
Kauan...
Sano jotain.
No,
Ei.
Mä oon Aanemi.
Ei, Rei puhuu hyvää suomea. Mitä kuuluu?
Ei paha.
Okei.
Niin sanotaan. Ihan jees.
Sä oot suomeksi paljon lyhytsanaisempi.
Niin, joo, todella oikeasti. Mikä menikin nyt? Mulla on siis pieni poika kotona ja se on meidän, se ei ole niin kuin random pieni poika, se on vain...
Minkä ikäinen?
Lähes 2 vuotias. Joo, eli niin vaikea, että mä voisin sanoa. Kyllä me nukutaan nyt, mutta siis leikitään koko ajan ja on niin crazy, että se ei osaa puhua vielä, mutta koko ajan on jotain.
Joo.
Mutta se on best.
Se on, joo, ja se helpottaa sitten 20 vuoden päästä.
Joo, kaikki sanoo, että se helpottaa, mutta...
Ei se helpota.
En usko.
Ei se tule uudet. Sä oot nyt hän osaa itse ja nyt tulee ongelma, hän menee kouluun ja sitten tulee teini-ikä ja sitten se muuttaa ja aina ollaan huolissaan.
Niin. Ja sitten mä olisin kuollut ja se on paras.
Niin, sit se on hyvä. Joo, sit se on viimein hyvä. Mutta sit sä joudut siellä haudassakin miettimään, että voi, miten hän suree nyt. Tai ei sure. Sekin on paha. Okei, mutta selitys sille, miksi sä puhut eri lailla suomea. On se, että sä olet Kanadasta.
Niin.
Sä oot Vancouverista. Vai mistä sä oot?
Mä oon syntynyt Vancouverissa, mutta mun kotikaupunki on London, Ontario ja sitten Toronto.
Okei. Ootas nyt.
Toronto.
Onko Toronto ja Vancouver lähekkäin? Ei.
No, jos ajat siis autolla, se kestää noin 4 päivää.
Okei. Niin se on, joo. Sitä aina sanotaan, että Suomi on iso maa.
Joo. Mä muistan, että kerran mä otin siis mä menin siis junamatkalla Torontosta siis toiselle puoleen Ontarioon. Mulla on siis työpaikka siellä, tree planter, en mä tiedä mikä se on.
Puiden istuttaja.
Joo. In the forestry industry. Ja sitten mä olin siis 30 tuntia junamatkalla ja se oli siis sama provinssi.
Joo.
Se oli hauska.
Joo. No mites Kanadassa? Hetkinen, me ollaan sama ikäisiä, paitsi että eikö sä oot vanhempi? Sä oot paljon vanhempi.
Mä oon syntynyt siis 77.
Niin, vaan 78.
Okei.
No suht samanikäisiä. Niin, millainen oli lapsuus Kanadassa?
No, mahtavaa ja kanadalainen.
Millainen on kanadalainen lapsuus?
Se oli hellä kesällä ja todella kylmä talvella. Ja no, en mä tiedä, koska lapsuuden aika on aina vain yleensä vain hauskaa ja kiva ja kaikenlaisia voi tehdä ja koko ajan on jotain kiinnostavaa ja mä tein siis kaiken. Mä pelasin ei pesäpallo, mutta baseball ja jääkiekkoa.
Siis totta kai pelasit jääkiekkoa.
Joo. Mä olin maalivahti. Joo. Se oli minä, niin kuin mun isä.
Ai jaa.
Joo.
Se on teidän suvussa.
Se oli meidän valmentaja, coach.
Okei.
Joo.
Aika siisti.
Joo.
Pelaako kaikki kanadalaiset jääkiekkoa?
Ei kaikki. Se on periaatteessa niin kuin sama juttu Suomessa. Että muutama pelaa jääkiekkoa ja toisen menee siis palettiin tai vain istuu ja lukea kulmassa yksin
Se on aika lailla mun.
Se on myös hyvä harrastus.
Mä en osaisi luistella.
Really, oikeasti?
No osaan mä luistella siis varmaan, jos joku tiedätkö, brasilialainen näkisi mut luistelemassa, niin hän pitäisi mua ehkä hyvänä, mutta jos me nyt lähettäisiin nyt luistinkentälle tonne noin, niin voi olla, että sä katsoisit kanadalaisena ja suomalaisena silleen, että hän ei osaa luistella. Niin. Mutta en mä ikinä oikein.
Joo, mä muistan, kun mä olin siis 8-vuotias, mä menin siis aamulla skating clinic.
Joo.
Skate clinic, siis pienet lapset voivat tehdä siis drillit koko ajan.
Joo. No, mutta meillä oli siis, mä muistan, että kyllä mäkin kävin siis, me oltiin aina pelaamassa lätkää ala-asteella. En mä ymmärrä, miksi mä menin, kun kaikki muutkin meni, niin munkin piti mennä. Ja sitten mä olisin, että mä tykkään, että tästä nojailin siellä laitaan. Mä olisin pystyssä ja sitten aina se ei käänny, mutta kun osasi kääntyä vaan toiseen suuntaan.
Niin. Joo, jokaisella on siis hyvä puoli ja paha puoli. Joo. Crossoverit on vähän niin vaikea.
Joo, sirklaa oikein, mutta en.
Odota, mä menen siis ympäri. Odota vähän. Mutta mä muistin, kun mä olin lapsi, totta kai mä olin siis tyttö ja sitten mä ei ole olemassa siinä aikana siis tyttöjen tiimit. Joukkue. Eli mä olin siis pelaamassa koko ajan siis pojan kanssa. Ja sitten kun mä olin 11-vuotias tai jotain, tuli siis ensimmäinen tyttöjen liiga mun kotikaupungissa. Se oli kiva, mutta myös vähän siis lame alkuperäis alussa. Ja sitten nyt se on niin kuin crazy hyvä.
Niin. No, eikö ne ole ihan ylivoimaisia? Siis naisten MMS Kanada, eihän se ole mitään. Suomi voitti nyt jonkun pronssi.
Ja Suomessa on myös todella hyvä joukkue.
Mutta eikö se tasoero kuitenkin ole?
Tämä on ihan crazy, että mä oon siis, vain koska mä oon kanadalainen ja tämä keskustelu meni siis heti siis jääkiekkoon.
Niin meni. Ja mun kanssa, joka ei ikinä puhu jääkiekosta. Tämä on tosi outoa, mutta onneksi
Alko puhua siis Celine Dionista.
Joo, seuraava on se, sitten käydään Neil Young läpi. Kaikki nämä. Mites ne tukkimiehen paidat? Voitaisiko me ne käydä läpi? Mutta onko se niin, että sun äiti on suomalainen?
Kyllä, joo. Hän oli siis Leppäväärä.
Okei, espoolainen.
Joo. Tai helsinkiläinen, mutta se meni siis lukiossa. Hän oli Leppäväärässä.
Mutta siis onko sun isä ja äiti siis ne oli siellä, siis asuu Kanadassa molemmat silloin? Miten se päätyi Kanadaan?
Mun äiti?
Niin, tai miten ne?
No se, kun mä luulen, että se oli noin 24 tai 23-vuotias, se meni siihen opiskella ei lähihoitaja.
Hoitaja.
Joo.
Like a nurse.
Niin, ja sitten they met each other ja sitten boom.
Okei, boom. Boom. You showed up.
Joo.
Mutta ne on asunut Kanadassa koko ajan.
Lähes koko ajan.
No, miksi sä muutit Suomeen?
Se oli virhe.
Koska sä muutat takaisin?
Koska mä luulin, kun mä valmistuin yliopistolta, mä luulin, että en mä tiedä oikeasti, mitä mä haluaisin tehdä. Mulla on siis teatteri degree. Ja mun idea oli, että mä voisin nyt mennä siis mäkkärin töihin tai jotain, koska mulla ei ole mitään siis network, verkosta. Joo, ja mä luulen, että ehkä olisi kiva mennä Suomen vuoden ajaksi ja vain mieti. Ja sitten mä oon vielä täällä.
Milloin sä tulit tänne?
2002.
Okei.
Eli lähes 22 vuotta.
Joo. Aikamoista. Ootko missään vaiheessa miettinyt, että pitäisi muuttaa takaisin?
Koko ajan.
Joka
oikeasti. Päivä.
Onko nyt varsinkin, kun on lapsi, niin tuleeko mieleen, että pitäisi mennä?
Joo, olisi todella kiva olla siellä noin 4 tai 5 vuotta. Koska mä haluaisin, olisi kiva, että se voisi kokeilla tai kokea toinen toinenlainen tapa ajatella tai elää tai ympäristö.
Joo.
Ja myös koska mun vanhemmat on aika vanha, aika pian,
niin totta.
olisi kiva nähdä ja olla siellä. Mutta mä veikän, että olisi tärkeää tulla takaisin Suomeen jossain vaiheessa. Katsotaan. Myös siis housing prices. Ne on niin hullut Kanadassa. Niin crazy.
Se on niin kallis.
Se on mahdotonta.
Joo. No mutta kyllähän teatteritaiteilijat.
Joo, jos lääkärit Torontossa on siis roommates.
Jeez.
Flat shares. Joo. Se on ihan hullu.
No mun kaikki kokemus Kanadan hintatasoon perustuu tähän Remppa vai muutto, TV show.
Joo. Vancouverissa.
Aina, että mikä teidän budjetti on? 6 miljoonaa.
Joo, mikä helvetti. Joo. Se on, mä oon siis, I am addicted to that show so much. En mä tiedä miksi.
Se on hyvä show.
Joo, se on
mä katson aina, että mä jotenkin aina silleen, että mä oon silleen, että varmaan tää Kanadan dollari on jotenkin vähempi arvoinen. Ja sitten Google, ei. Tämä on joku 10 miljoonaa euroa.
Tämä on siis ihan normaali talo sitten 1,5 miljoonaa tai jotain.
Joo, ja sitten ajattelin, että ne on varmaan tosi menestyviä. Silleen, että no I'm a construction worker. And
niin.
I'm a stay at home mom. Mitä? Joo, meillä on jotenkin eri palkat täällä. Okei, no mutta sä tulit Suomeen, siis mitä sä opiskelit yliopistolla, teatteria? Siis
joo,
siellä,
tässä.
Ei vaan siis Kanadassa?
Kanadassa mä olin University of Torontossa ja mä tein siis englannin mikä literature.
Joo, kirjallisuus. Kato, sä opit nyt suomea paljon mun kanssa.
Sitten biologia.
Okei.
Ja sitten teatteria.
Joo. Ja sitten sä tulit Suomeen ja sitten sä menit teakkiin. Mä otin samaan aikaan teakissa. Mä muistan, sä oot toinen ikuisuusopiskelija siellä ollut. Niin.
Se kestää niin 12 vuotta mun maisterin.
Niin pelkkä maisteri vai?
Joo. Koska mä tein jotain ja sitten se oli hylättynyt mun taiteellinen työ.
Okei.
Oli vähän pieni skandaali. Ja sitten mä sanoin, että okei, unohda kaikki. Ja sitten ne kirjoitti mulle muutama vuotta jälkeen ja sanoi, että haluatko tulla takaisin ja tehdä sen lopuksi. Ja tämän aikana mä oon startannut stand-upiksi. Ja mä sanoin, että okei, mä voisin tulla takaisin, mutta nyt mä teen stand-upia ja mä haluaisin tehdä stand-upia niin kuin performanssi tai taiteena. Ja se onnistui aika hyvin. Joo, mä olin siellä pedagogisella linjalla ja mäkin sidoin kaiken stand-upiin. Et se oli ihan mahdollista. Kyllä ne siellä jotenkin tajus, että se on esittävää taidetta. Joo. Mutta se on todella kiinnostava esiintyvä taidetta. Joo. Todella kiinnostava, koska kaikki tapahtuu siis just nyt. Ja on niin, se tapahtuu koko ajan, että jotain menee pieleen. Se siis vahinko on siis koko ajan läsnä. Ja se on kiva. Joo. Mutta onko sä aina tuossa teatterissa ollut niin kuin enemmän tätä, mikä se koulutusohjelma onkaan, esitystaide? Joo. Niin kuin performance. Se oli, siinä aikana se oli esitystaide ja mikä se oli? Esitystaide ja teoria. Joo. Sitten oli live art and performance studies. En mä tiedä, jos on jotain muuta nyt, mutta se on labs. Mä luulen, että se on live art and performance studies nyt. Joo. No, onko se niin kuin nimenomaan sua kiinnosti aina se outo osasto siinä, että ei niin kuin perinteinen teatteri? Vähän. Et halunnut silleen, että minusta tulee näyttelijä? Tai... No, olisi kiva, mutta mun mielestä se olisi vähän tylsää, jos mä voisin vain suorittaa jotain joka päivä ja mä voisin what's trust? Luottaa. Että joka päivä se meni hyvin.
Niin.
Se oli vähän tylsää.
Joo. Ja kun sehän on sitä toistoa, repetition.
Niin, joo.
Sitähän se on, että niin tavallaan.
Ja kyllä mä tiedän, että teatterissa on joka kerta on siis, se on erilainen joka kerta ja joka yleisö on erilainen ja kaikki muut. Mutta kuitenkin mä tiedän, että jos se on vähän easy.
Joo.
Se ei toimi mulle.
Joo. No minkä ikäisenä sä sitten, niin kun sä pelasit jääkiekkoa ja muuta, mutta oliko niin kuin taide sulle jotenkin merkittävä niin kuin nuorena?
Koko ajan nuorena. Mä kirjoitin koko ajan. Ja piirtää koko ajan. Ja mä olin aina siis tämmöinen nörtti sekä jock.
Sama aika.
Sekä taiteilija ja teatterilapsi ja mä olin vähän niin kuin kaikenlaisen nörtti.
Niin. Joo. No se selittää sen English literature ja kaikki.
Niin.
Joo. Mä nauratti, kun mä katoin sun nettisivuilta sun CVtä, mitä kaikkea. Joo. Niin musta se oli hauska ne kaikki esitystaiteen. Mä olin on tullut kaikissa oudoissa jutuissa.
Joo.
Musta se on hienoa. Ja sitten mä kiinnitin huomioon, että mun on pakko siis sanoa sitä Suzuki-metodia. Sitä sairasta, missä hakataan jalkoja.
Joo, semmoinen.
Se on ihan älytön. Mä muistan, että mä kävin jonkun kurssin joskus sitä. Ja sit silleen,
se on hauskaa.
No on se tavallaan, mutta kyllä mä muistan, että siinä se oli joskus mun aiemmissa teatteriopinnoissa stadialla ja sitä piti joku guru, en tiedä, varmaan sun tuttuja, joku kuitenkin jostain Itä-Euroopasta tullut tyyppi ja se oli, ja sitten se vaan hakattiin niitä jalkoja ja me tulee mustelmista se you're doing it wrong, you don't. Kovettakaa sitä, harden your feet. Teatteri valmistaminen tai treenaus on siis 90-luvulla erityisesti on siis tämmöinen fetissi, että pitäisi tehdä kova fyysinen treenaus koko ajan ja olla vähän julma itselle. Ja mun mielestä se on myös hauskaa, mutta mä oon aika onnellinen, että se ei ole ainoa tapa tehdä teatteria tai tehdä taiteellinen työtä. Joo, mä muistan sitä Suzukista, että sehän on semmoinen niin kuin transsimainen tila. Niin. Että siinä tulee hyvin semmoinen näin, mutta samalla se on sitten fyysisesti niin raskasta, että ei siinä ole paljon vaihtoehtoakaan. Joo, mutta mä katson, että sulla on kaikki Meyerholdin biomekaniikkaa.
Joo, se on best. Mä opin Meyerholdin biomekaniikkaa, koska Torontossa tuli yksi professori Berliinistä, joka on oppinut siis Meyerholdin oppilaan kanssa.
Okay.
Ja se oli sen tapa työskentellä ja mä opin aika paljon, niin sitten mä tajusin yhden päivänä, että okei, tämä on siis mun niin kuin, mun pakko selittää englanniksi, että this is like my home kind of way of approaching theater training because I got it at a certain time and I got enough of it, so I understand it a certain way, and then everything else becomes like, okay, I understand it in terms of this. But it was just random that I happened to have a professor who had studied it and could teach it really well. So like, it's like any method that you learn really deeply is very good. Yeah. And then you can use that as like a basis for taking in other methods. And I love that I love meeting people who are really deeply in another method, because then you can kind of compare like some of the main points. And often they're similar, but with like really small variations that have consequences for style and stuff. I think it's nice.
Yeah, but I think with all the methods, it's kind of like you learn it, you kind of and then just let it go.
Yeah, you hope so.
Yeah, in a way.
Some people don't let it go.
Yeah, I know.
And they get a little weird.
Yeah, it's same in stand-up. In a way, let's just let it go. We can do whatever we want. Yeah. No! Yeah. I'm like that also. I'm sort of, mä saan jonkun idean ja mä sanoin, että tämä voisi ei ole stand-upia.
Really?
Sometimes, Then I just try to let it go. Okei, but milloin sä sitten teatterista, missä kohtaa stand-up alkoi sua kiinnostaa? We can speak English also.
I think it was like, it must have been 12 years ago, about something like that. Yeah. And I think because I'd gone through the thing about coming here and doing theater was that my Finnish was so bad that I couldn't get any work as an actor, of course, or really even work in Finnish. And then, so I then was doing a lot of stuff like physical theater and stuff that was related to dance. And then I got into performance art because that was a way that I could still keep working. And then I kind of got fed up with performance art for a while because I noticed that I would go to these performances and it's the same 60 people who show up to them and they're also performance artists. And at some point I was like, is this a conspiracy to keep all the radical ideas like just in the same circle and away from the public? Because the public do not come to those performances. No. And I was getting kind of frustrated that I couldn't get any feedback on what I was doing because also because we're all part of the same crowd, often performance artists were not giving a lot of feedback on what they liked or what they didn't like because it also wasn't somehow their place. So you never knew if anybody liked anything or if it was interesting or actually good.
Yeah.
And then I saw some people I know doing like open mic stand-up. Yeah. I kind of liked stand-up. And then I saw a little bit of stand-up and I watched it and went like, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to work with language a bit more.
Yeah.
So I went to like an open mic at Beer and Jokes at Oh, Molly Malone's.
Molly Malone's.
Upstairs.
Yeah. That's the English club.
Yeah, I did like a 4 minutes there. Which was probably shockingly bad, probably terrible, but I got a few laughs and I was basically addicted from that.
Yeah. But you didn't have anything like you didn't because you grew up in Canada. I don't know if they had stand up there, but
we had stand up. I mean, we got Second City. I never went to it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like stand up when I was growing up that much. I remember seeing a bit of like Steve Martin on TV or a bit of Richard Pryor or a bit of Lenny Bruce or something and thinking like it just was very aggressive.
Yeah.
In some ways, and then I had one of my boyfriends made me watch Bill Hicks, and I was like, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
Now I can. Now I can watch Bill Hicks, and I really enjoy some of it. And then at one point he was like, okay, we're going to watch a stand-up show, and I'm like, I don't like stand-up, and he said, try this one, and then he puts on Eddie Izzard's Glorious.
Yeah.
And that was like the first show that I saw that I was like, just laughing the entire time and loved it.
Yeah. So that was my contribution to this conversation.
Don't worry, I just did that for 20 minutes. So. now
it's fair. But you started Beer and Jokes because I remember when you started, it was pretty quick. Your kind of like getting good. I mean,
I think what happened was I was already like a performer.
Yeah.
So I wasn't thrown by things like lights. And getting nervous. Like I knew that was part of it. And some of the writing I kind of had already in the pocket, and some of the improvisation was okay. I was really good at not giving punchlines, and I'm still really good at not putting punchlines in my work. I like to do that, just go on for a while and then go like, well, I guess that part ended. I guess I was quite, I was pretty motivated to do something. And I knew, I knew how the artistic process worked. Yeah. Which now that I say that, I actually remember this being a thing that, because when you start, you're on this roller coaster of like, oh, I'm good, oh, I'm shit, and you go through like cycles of learning something and then being like terrible at it and then getting it a couple times and then you just sort of come back to another point where something else is difficult, but the original thing is not difficult anymore. And I've been through so many theater shows that I remember like this is the learning process of doing like an artistic thing. And so I was really comfortable with that process. And I think that's probably why.
Yeah, and I don't know. But then you started, like, I remember, I don't know, when did you start the Comedy Idiot thing with Aatu?
That was Eric Seufert's show.
Kind of
before that at Mascot. And he had this Comedy Idiot. And then he moved away. And he said, like, to me and Aatu, like, you take over my show. And we were like, okay. And then we thought, should we host one every other time? And then we thought, no, let's host together.
Yeah.
And then
it was one of the fucking weirdest things I ever seen.
I actually found a video. I found a video where we're about to introduce you.
Yes.
And we had these blood capsules in our mouth, and we came on like kind of dressed as old men. And then halfway through us just talking, being old men, blood starts pouring out of our mouth, and we're talking about the war. And then we introduce you to get on stage, and that was like us.
That was the weirdest thing. You were saying something like meat pie, and it's blood coming out, and I was like, okay. And I was going to do maybe my second gig in English. And I was like, okay, I must react to this. But that was the weirdest.
I think that's why Aatu and I kind of get along. We haven't done any shit like that for a long time. We should. I need to find something really, really stupid for us to do, because we're both very enabling of bullshit like that. Like we once just went up and did our set while eating ghost peppers.
Yeah, what is ghost peppers?
Like the tiny little peppers.
That
those, are
like really hot ones.
Pretty hot ones, yeah. And so we each ate half of a ghost pepper and then tried to do our hosting.
Jesus.
It was awesome, but you couldn't when you wanted to speak, because when you were speaking, it took your mind off of the pain a little bit. So we were both just either speaking or jumping up and down. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that, but that was something like you can think of it. That's not traditional stand-up.
No, I guess not. No. But we didn't really care. We were just like we like that really worked. I think on some it didn't work because it's not finessed. It's not practiced or anything like that.
That would be weird if you would practice.
but it did kind of work because it was the sort of thing where we were doing something that we found funny.
Yeah.
And I think some of the time, sometimes people get up and they do what they think is funny, and everybody else in the room is like, actually, no, it's not. Yeah. But if you just believe in what you find funny and you do that on the stage, then if you've got it, then it will work.
Yeah, at least people will remember that. Yeah. I mean, they might be, that was so weird. Yeah. I must go and see what they're doing next. And maybe that's why the club is still running.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a different name. Used to be Eric's.
Yeah, no, it's used to be Eric's because it used to be Eric's.
I like your point of view in a way, because when we get something working, let's change the name.
Yeah, I know.
You've done it with James Lorien and
oh my God, I still don't know what my name is.
Yeah.
The worst thing is because there's a comedian in Glasgow.
Yeah.
Jamie MacDonald.
Yeah,
who is blind. And is like now, I think he's been on QI now. He's doing really well for himself, and I'm very happy for him. But it means that like if I move anywhere outside of the Finnish circles, I have to have a different stand-up name. And this drives me bonkers. I don't want to use my full James Lorien MacDonald because nobody can say that many syllables.
Yeah. But it's weird because I remember you changing from Jamie to you tried for a while for Lorien. I was like thinking like, now that people start to know who Jamie MacDonald is, let's change the name.
Yeah. I may have to do it again because of.
But you can do it like this is your Finnish name, and then when you go somewhere else, just
I feel like I may have to do that.
Yeah. Well, it's like maybe you can just put an L.
Yeah.
It's like James L. Brooks.
Yeah, that's true.
In a way.
Yeah, but Jamie L. sounds
Jamie L.
Jamie L. sounds like something from Lord of the Rings.
Jamie L.
It's that horse. Yeah. My horse, Jamie L.
But then you have a poster.
Blood coming out of its mouth,
Meat pie.
That's the horse I would have in Lord of the Rings. I must say this,
knowing Aatu, I think Aatu's contribution to that bit was the meat pie.
It almost certainly was the meat pie. You can always count on Aatu to bring food into the equation.
Yeah, and usually meat.
And every food is very funny to Aatu.
Yeah. He uses those like in his stand-up. He mentions a lot of foods and libraries.
There's the porridge. Yeah. There's the fish. There was the salmon. There was potatoes at one point. There's
and kanavi, like the Finnish school food.
And there's the baguettes with the ice cream in it. And food is a really source of pleasure.
He mainly talks about food and libraries because he's always going to a library.
I like how he looks like he's supposed to be like some kind of like, he would be a kind of like a rock star fuckboy kind of thing. Like, no, he's just like eating something and then going to the library.
That's That's
basic man.
Okay, but then you have had a lot of different clubs. You run is still running the Feminist Comedy Club? No?
The Feminist Comedy Night, I haven't been running it since COVID.
Yeah.
And I haven't picked it up again. A lot of people kind of want it to come back, but I've got mixed feelings about bringing it back.
Why?
The name is a problem.
Yeah.
But also, the name is one of the problems, and one of the difficulties with that is getting to kind of frame however this is going to get a little like in the sticks, but what I wanted to do with that night was to we didn't know when we started that if like you could make a feminist comedy night. Yeah. Because it was my friend Leena Kela from Performance Art who was curating at Madhouse Helsinki who said, do you want to come and do some comedy here? And do you want to do like feminist comedy? Yeah. And I literally said, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah. But let's try. And so the first few nights we had a lot of mistakes coming in because the thing is I didn't want to tell everybody that you have to say feminist jokes because I think a lot of comedians don't even know feminism that well. Yeah. And also I didn't want it to be just a place where one kind of humor is allowed. I really don't like telling people what to say. Yeah. I don't like censorship in that kind of way. But I do like dialogue. Yeah. And so what I kind of wanted was an evening where feminist values are there and people can engage with that. So I didn't require that all of the comedians be women or feminist. Yeah. I just said, okay, this is a feminist audience and they're paying to have a nice show and do your best. So, because some people I think would have signed up to try and troll it, and I'm like, please don't, because like that's just for you. It's not like they're paying customers. Yeah.
But why would you come in there and? I mean, that's not. I don't think any comedian wants that the audience will hate them.
Yeah, I know.
At least I wouldn't.
Well, because they're mad at feminists, Yeah.
Well,
and a lot of people were very nervous about going to that show. A lot of men, especially, very nervous about going to do a set there. A lot of guys did fantastically. Yeah. A lot of guys did not so great, or half well and half not well, and they were like, "That joke always lands. I don't know why it didn't work now." And I was like, "Well, if you want to have a beer, I can tell you why it didn't work." But and I also didn't like myself being the judge of what is good feminism and what isn't. Yeah. So I didn't want to be like, I'm the daddy of feminism. Yeah. And then
that's a weird title.
It is.
Maybe that's your new name.
It is. Yeah, daddy of feminism. I didn't want to be the one who's telling people what's right and wrong. I wanted to be like, this is a room where we're kind of working through. Yeah. Because I really do think that stand-up comedy is thinking in public. Yeah. I know of course it's funny. It's also like butt jokes and food. Yeah. But
that's what we think.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's thinking in public and of a certain kind. But the reason why I don't want to set it up yet, I'm also kind of busy with a lot of other projects. Yeah. And also I've noticed there are a few other places that, now we have all-female panel. Yeah. Which is, it's all-female panel. It's whether it's a feminist show is something that people can debate, but it doesn't matter. There is a very new group of open micers who have started the Helsinki Stand-Up League. Yeah, they're downtown in Lazy Fox, I think, and they're doing kind of. Well, I don't know if what they do is strictly feminist either. And then there's like queer feminist nights now. Yeah. And I do have in the works with some other comedians a new show, because also I don't want to be running at all.
But then you also have the Punch Up and Glitter
Well,
stuff.
Punch Up we're not doing anymore. Okay. Because we did it for 5 years.
And then that was enough.
Yeah. Well, the messed up thing is like, we were like, okay, the thing about Punch Up and Glitter, Punch Up Resistance and Glitter, the variety show, was that we wanted to pay people well. we wanted to have the big venues.
Yeah.
We didn't get grants for it very much. We did not make that much money. From like people think, that this is a big show, you're making a lot. We sometimes we didn't get paid.
Yeah.
And we produced the whole thing and we performed in the thing and the audience was like, half full or even 3/4 full. And like because the venues are expensive and all that, like we made it more as a labor of love than anything else. And we're like, this is not sustainable. We need to come back with a sustainable concept.
But that's what happened when you make a spectacle.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a big fucking thing.
Yeah, it was
you have
huge.
to have it because
it was
then
crazy.
if you do it like, well, we're going to produce it low key, then it's kind of like, well, that's not the same thing.
And the things that we were struggling with that was that we took a lot of these underground arts like stand-up and we put them on a bigger stage. And on one hand, it elevates those acts to make them look a lot bigger. But the stage is very empty.
Yeah.
And if you don't like work with the whole space and work with the spectacle part of it, you miss out on some kind of elevation. It looks a little weird.
Yeah.
And then also because it started to get more popular, we had audiences who were not familiar with like queer politics or queer lives coming in going, okay, this is culture, so I'll come and watch some culture. And we had to figure out like how to bring them into the room so that they feel like they understand what they're watching.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not take anything away from our core audience.
Yeah.
And that was quite a challenge. And by the end, I think we were actually starting to do it pretty well.
Yeah.
But then we'd already committed to taking a break from it. So we'll come back with something else.
But you won the Vuoden Teatteriteko Award.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
Yeah, that was a big thing. We were not expecting that at all. Yeah. But that was wild. And that came because there was the National Theatre had that production of All About My Mother, in which there's a woman there's a trans woman character who is played. The actor was a cisgender man, and trans activists, including oh my gosh, Camille. I've forgotten her last name. It'll come back to me in a second. Camille Auer and Mira Eskelinen were among the activists who said like this is terrible and you can't do this. And then a lot of theater people went like, no, we can do this because it's acting.
Yeah.
I
don't have to be a murderer to play murder.
Right. But then the National Theatre was very good in starting a discussion as to, okay, why is this particular case difficult then? And then at the end they said, well, we don't usually have trans actors on stage because there aren't any, and which made all of the trans artists go like, we are here, we just never get any exposure. And then they said, well, propose something to us, and so we said, okay, we've got this show, and we can bring it to the stage, and then we did, and it was this insane night. It was full. That was the first time I've been in front of an audience where it was so big and so rowdy, like supportive rowdy, that I was like, I don't have a lot of control over what happens tonight. I don't know if you've ever been like, you're like there with the mic and you're like, there's something out there that I have to respect a lot because this is a little different. This isn't just me like shooting the shit, and this isn't just me like taking them for a ride. Like there is a real animal out there.
It's always what is helpful for that is blood capsules.
Next time just start bleeding from the mouth. Yeah. It was great.
I kind of like the National Theatre, like kind of, okay, we have a pickle here. Let's give them a award. And an award and annetaan niille palkinto so we can carry on with our play. Let's take a focus out of this to put it that.
And we're happy to take the award. There's no money attached to it.
Do you know what happened? I don't remember. I remember that talking about that all about my mother thing. But what happened actually? Did it go on like normally?
I believe the show went on. I don't actually remember.
So I remember the actor who was playing, and he was a bit like kind of like, I didn't realize, in a way, because he didn't realize, he thought he was playing a transvestite role and not a transgender.
Gender woman.
Yes. You can see how I'm with what's the
vocabulary?
Yeah, the vocabulary. Then I'm going to be really careful.
Well, that's I mean that's the thing that people have to be kind of. That's something that like trips me up all the time. Like I don't if you ever watch me at a queer feminist show, it might seem like it's very like sujuva. It might look like it's very smooth, but in my head I'm constantly like doing calculus of like my vocabulary should be very precise.
Yeah.
And if I say something that some people will say, oh, but you've forgotten about this group of people, then I will probably say something a little just like a passing thing about that group of people. So they go, oh, he hasn't forgotten that group. It's kind of exhausting doing that kind of comedy.
There's no time for punchlines then.
Exactly. That's why. It's all just footnotes. Yeah. I just do, social justice footnotes. And then at the end I say, well, that's my time. And
I always like when comedians talk about these things that everybody's like, well, I don't know. I have to phone Jamie.
I've had quite a few messages over the right? Can you say this? I'm like,
what's the term? Yeah. So, but we're talking about this. You started your process.
Yeah.
What is this called in?
I guess transition.
Yeah, in
2014, I guess. It was 2013 when I kicked off the whole idea. Yeah. But I didn't come out until I was approved for the hormones. Yeah. And that was in 2014.
Yeah. Was it something that, I don't even know how to talk about this. Was it something that you, like, was it like a obvious thing? Like, did you kind of like, felt it like your whole life, we're going to edit this?
No, go ahead.
Was it like something that you kind of like, you grew up and you kind of like realized it like a long time ago? Or
like yes and no in a way, like because it's not quite so black and white that like if you realizing something and then taking certain choices about it are different things. Yeah. Like so like because I grew up as a tomboy and that was never like a controversial thing for me. I was just very happy to be like that.
And tomboy is tyttöpoika, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah.
Like if you look at all my school pictures when I was a kid, there's like one where they managed to shove me in a dress, and then the rest of them I'm basically wearing like button down shirts and very overalls and stuff, and they got the all the bowl haircut and stuff, and it was a sort of thing where I kind of understood myself to be more aligned with boy than girl in many ways, but there was also like a completely normal space for that being a tomboy. Like that was just like it's very normal for a lot of girls to be like that. And then it wasn't until I was much older that I had some friends who had also transitioned, and at the time when I was thinking about it, I was like, that's really extreme. Yeah, that's a really hardcore thing to do to yourself, and very permanent and all that kind of stuff,
and not made easy.
And also because what if you don't look good, or what if all of these things go wrong, kind of thing, and what if your family kicks you out and all that. And for a long time I thought I was just kind of content to be as I was, and then you know how like I don't know if you get like this when you're a dad, so you probably don't stay up until 3 a.m. very often.
Well, my kids are old, so
so now you get to. But when you get like on a YouTube loop, and you end up kind of in the same YouTube area, like all the time. I kept watching these like videos of people who had been transitioning, and they were talking about their voice, or they were talking about the hormones or whatever. And I would notice, I was like, at some point I was like, I don't think everybody watches these videos. I think I'm watching a lot of these videos. Maybe I should have a conversation with myself about that, and possibly a conversation with a doctor. And but I had a lot of supportive friends. Which helped a lot. And I spent a lot of time on Reddit reading through people's experiences. And I'm very glad I decided to go through with it. Absolutely. But it still is, I can imagine myself if I hadn't a little bit. But it's sort of thing where it's like you know and you don't know. You don't know how you know, and you don't know the extent to what you know. You just have to kind of keep trying things until you go, I think this is okay, and then you keep going.
I think it was really interesting, the process, because you did stand up at the same time all the time. So it was kind of like, because it's something that you don't know. I mean, I had no idea what it is like. I mean, I knew it in a way, but it's kind of like, oh, now actually know somebody who's in that process and actually talks about it. I was like, this is really fascinating.
I mean, it also helped my comedy a lot in that I was so interesting that people would anyway listen to me whether I was funny or not. Yeah. But also, and I decided to do that because I thought, what's my option? My option is that like I stopped doing comedy for 2 years and then I come back with a different name and everybody pretends I didn't exist before. I was like, no, I'm just going to do it all the way through. Yeah.
And I especially like that. I don't know if it's, but I liked the part when you started to talk a lot about like me, like a middle-aged man in a way. I have these problems. I'm like, that's me also.
This fucks me up so much. It's like how I thought I understood what masculinity was going to be, and it's not like that. It's not like that. It's like the oh man, I think like I see a lot of drag king performances. I love drag kings. They're great. I see a lot of performances where it's all about like self-confidence and freedom and just being charming and then getting a dick out at the end. Like this, it's a thing, you know, or toxic masculinity. They do a lot of, and I really want to see a drag king do an act where it's like, oh shit, I have to go to war. Or like, fuck, everybody expects me to do everything about paying the bills. Or I have these, like, I want to cry, but I can't. Like, I want to see drag kings struggle with actual masculine
normal things.
Yeah.
That's a good show. That would be a good.
Yeah, I'd love to see a drag king act going like, why can't I cry?
Realistic drag. Yeah. Okay, well, that's, okay. Did we cover that section?
Are you satisfied?
I am satisfied. I am satisfied about that section. No, but there was this. Yesterday I Googled you again, and there was.
And you got the blind guy.
And I got the blind guy a lot. But then there was a lot of talk about the process being. It's not really because there was how do you say it in English? Sterilization. Part?
Oh yeah, the sterilization.
That's still.
I have a letter.
Yeah.
That says I'm sterilized.
Yeah.
But whether I'm actually sterilized is a different question.
Okay. But that's like a requirement.
It was, yeah.
Not anymore.
Oh my gosh, I need to know because the law changed. I'm pretty sure that the sterilization is no longer a requirement as of last year's law.
Okay, well, that's good.
But because it used to be, and this is kind of like a hangover from like Swedish eugenics.
Yeah.
You know, they were all horny for eugenics around the turn of, around the war and everything. Because also they would do things like sterilize people with disabilities.
Yeah. Quite recently, actually.
Yeah. And so it used to be that the surgery, like the genital surgery would be a requirement for changing all your legal markers and everything. It's no longer the case. But the sterilization remained a requirement. So what the doctors here did is, I thought was very kind of, kind considering the way that they were working around the law, was to say that you don't need any surgery, but if you've been on hormones for a year or 2 years, let's say you are functionally sterile.
Okay,
it's not really true, but for most cases, you are going to have difficulty, like a person with ovaries is going to have difficulty conceiving with when they're on testosterone because a lot of that process is very muted. So they just said, if you've been on hormones for long enough, then we consider you functionally sterile, and therefore you can get your legal marker changed. So that's how it worked for me.
Yeah,
but. But then of course my husband, who is also trans, he had our baby. So so obviously, but actually he didn't have his gender marker changed
until
he still doesn't have it. He's still when we travel, his passport still says F in it. Which is wild. But that also, I don't think we would have had access to, because we did fertility treatments, IVF. We would not have had access to that if we weren't an MF couple.
Oh.
So, because I'm male and he's female, legally, we had access to doing IVF. Whereas if he had changed that legal marker, we wouldn't have gotten it. Yeah,
and then, but you can get it if you're two females, then it would be.
Now I think you can,
But two men, Yeah, this is really confusing.
And as far as I actually bumped into somebody after a show who was like an early case of where like they went to court just very recently in order to go through this process, and I think they are winning the case. So there will be precedent, and this will change. But still, like, and then people were like, "Well, why don't you adopt?" And I'm like, "Do you think two trans men, one of whom has diagnosed ADHD and the other whom is me, is gonna? Do you think they're going to give us the right to adopt? No, it's not going to happen. We would have to like basically steal a baby off the street.
Yeah, well,
in the winter it's possible.
Yeah,
here, you know, everybody leaves it out in the pram.
Maybe go somewhere up north. They have a lot of babies there, so they don't notice if something's missing or even care.
Yeah, save it from the lestadiolaiset.
But it's I think what I liked about, I mean, your transition process, everything, because when I remember people are like, oh, that's coming, so?
Yeah.
It's not really something that people really, I don't know who fucking thinks all the time, that is something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like most people don't even care.
Yeah,
I mean,
they really don't. They really don't, They worry if they think something is going to be like a problem for them or if it's going to make them look bad. Yeah. You know, but, or if, you know, like, I think some people worry about how somebody else's transition makes them look. Like, does it, if it's your kid or something, does it make you look like you're a bad parent? Or will people think that you're weird because your kid did something weird? And it's like, well, you're going to have to get over that. That sounds like a you problem. That's not your kid's problem.
Kids do weird stuff.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's in a way, I kind of understand if you're really close to someone and you kind of like, I guess you could be worried, but not of the process, but like your kind of like how you're feeling. I mean, in that way, I can understand that. But
and your relationship might change a little. But I feel like and I think most of my comedian friends have seen that, like, I'm basically just the same. Yeah. I have less hair.
Yeah.
At least in one area.
That's it. Much more in some areas.
Yes. Yeah. That's basically it. The hair has all moved and it's the same person.
Thing. Yeah. Where it goes, it's a mystery. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. But now you're I don't know what happened to my voice there for a second. But now in your theater studies, you're actually doing what it is in English, tohtorin, PhD?
I'm a PhD candidate.
It's something emotions in stand-up.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I should really be farther along in this by now.
Yeah. But it's a nice title.
Yeah.
Just figure out your name and then it's done.
Well, this is something, it'd be interesting to talk to you about this because I wonder how much of this you recognize that.
Yeah.
So when I'm in front of an audience, like a regular audience, sometimes I come out as gay or trans, and sometimes I don't. Usually I do because at some point it gets kind of difficult to talk about stuff without I have to contextualize where I'm coming from, and then that requires coming out because also people don't realize if I don't come out because I lost all my hair, and then people think, Setamias is here.
Yeah.
So Setamias who talks English like this, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is that in order to because people are nervous around transgender issues, I don't want them to feel nervous while I'm trying to tell them jokes because then they don't relax and nothing's funny. Yeah. So in order to make them relax, I need to think ahead. Mm-hmm. How do they think about me? What are they worried about? How do I make it so that we can all be together in the same room and have fun, even though I know I'm going to do something that is going to make them a little anxious. So I'm trying to frame that as like emotional work.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking through the emotions of the audience and trying to redirect them even before I get onto the stage.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the kind of work that I should not be doing because it takes up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
And it should be it's not my problem that I'm trans.
Yeah.
You know, so why should I do any of the emotional lifting? So I feel like I do some work for the audience that they don't even notice that I do.
Yeah.
In order to do my shows.
Yeah. Laugh.
And I think like I've talked with like Ali Jahangiri about this a bit and Fatih, of course, like when they walk on stage, their difference in Finnish society is completely visible because it's skin color.
Yeah.
And with me, of course, I have to come out. but still, you know, when you look weird on a stage, like when I was in mid-transition, people were like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I always had to say a joke about it because otherwise people would wonder, what's this person's deal? Until they stop wondering what's this person's deal, then they don't listen to anything you say.
Yeah, that's true, because you have to state the obvious thing, that there's something here. Yeah. But it's really weird. But people watch you and they're like, there's something weird about him. Oh, he's Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, okay, that explains everything. Yeah. Excuse me, Celine Dion.
Yeah. But it's weird because I just watched you in Mascot, where we were at the same time. It's really weird in a way, because I noticed what you're saying. It's kind of like, and that's the place where people mostly recognize you anyway. They know your deal. Yeah. But it's kind of like, you have to state something that normally comedians shouldn't.
Yes.
Just to get the jokes. Yeah. I mean, people wouldn't understand it otherwise. Yeah. Like, that is weird. That's really interesting.
I mean, it's also the same as like if somebody is like comes from listaudiolaiset family, they say that and then they can tell their jokes about it.
Yeah, but that's easier in a way for the audience in Finland, because we all know in a way the stereotypes of listaudiolaiset in a way. Yeah. It's much different when you're trans in a way, because we actually, most of the people don't really know. No. In a way, they all just know that it's a heavy subject in a way. So like, oh shit, I don't want to laugh in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And that's I think Ali and Fatih has had that in a way also, like, because the audience doesn't want to sound like they're racist.
Right, yeah.
What can they laugh? Yeah. In a way, what is the joke?
And especially Fatih plays with that really consciously. Like he works, he pushes exactly to the places where he's like, I don't think everybody's going to laugh at this. Yeah. I think they should. Yeah. But, you know, he loves to push that boundary all the time.
It would be so fucking like embarrassing to be the only one laughing. Like, oh no.
I mean, when the comedians at the back of the room laugh, then you know it's okay. But it's like sometimes it's just me and Pia that are people are just like, laughing out loud.
But that's always also the comedians laugh. It's always they might laugh because you're not doing really well. It's just a feeling that you get there, but the only thing you can do is laugh because you feel the pain. No, but it's an interesting, because there's not that many in Finland like people doing their
PhD on comedy.
No,
not so
or
much.
even a master's degree. Yeah. I mean, I when I did mine, I was like, I think I was the third. Yeah. I mean, there might be you and Andre Wikström, and that's about it.
I think that was it, yeah. And also my plan is to interview some other trans comedians, probably in the Anglosphere, like, you know, in the US and UK, and to just talk to them about that topic and see what resonates. So that's kind of my way of thinking about comedy, because that relates to comedy as activism. Yeah. Which is something that I think has been happening a lot in the last 10 years, especially with minority comedians. Like, they make it funny, but they tell their life story in a way that people who are, you know, like people who are black and brown, they're telling like about racism in a way that white people can like go, oh, this is all okay. Sense. I don't feel sad. You know?
Yeah, but it's weird about the emotions that people like. I was in Studio Pasila with Illusia. And we both made our sets and everything went well. Both did well. And then we left together, and there was like this woman who was crying and thanking Illusia for speaking like that kind of. And I was like, that is something that
Yeah, you probably don't get that so much. Yeah.
I mean, not that many men come, oh, you're talking about how.
I get that a lot,
and too. I realized how important it is and then thinking about like Fatih especially to have like a Somali community. In a way, it's really like nobody's been talking about that. Yeah. You know, it's really important to them as well as a group that there is somebody who is.
But then that was the hard thing when I was starting out as well, that and one of the reasons to do this, like, feminist comedy night and other queer nights, and I did the Feminist Comedy Academy to teach comedy. I mean, I didn't, whatever, what can I teach? But I mean, Illusia went through that course, and so did Aurora Vasama and a few other people as well. And the idea was just to be like, I know that the backstage is typically very masculine and a bit bro, can be intimidating. Sometimes people are like telling homophobic shit backstage. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a course where you don't have to go through that part to learn the basics of stand-up.
Yeah.
And one of my motivations was that it was extremely hard to be one of the only, if not the only, visibly and out queer comedians in Finland, because everything I said was taken as representative of the whole LGBTQ community. And I can't represent everybody. That's not fair. It's not nice. Like I want to have a personality aside from this like thing that I am. So, and like when I started doing Homojen Homma many years ago, I didn't start it, but I joined that show. It's the Pride show. At one show, I was the only openly queer person on the stage, which is kind of wild because it's a Pride show. Yeah, but there weren't other out comedians. And now, like last year, we had 12 people on stage, and they're all queer.
Yeah. Sometimes it just needs something that they also, because I think it's something that like, okay, that's not my thing. We don't do that, and then you see somebody, I could actually do it. Yeah. So it is you don't want to be representative of one group, but when you get somebody, I can do that as well. Yeah, that's what happens. I think that's what Christian Heli did for a lot of women. Yeah, to be I can do that. Yeah, also. Yeah.
And then it's nice when a lot of other people start joining, because then you can go like, okay, now I can be my personality again instead of like this thing where I can't make any mistakes. Yeah. Because if I fuck up, then then all female comedians are bad. Yeah. All queer comedians are bad. You know? Yeah.
Well, when I fuck up, people think all the middle-aged men comedians.
Yeah. I think there's been a lot of collective effort of fuck up from some areas there. It's hard being a middle-aged man. Yeah. It is. I'll freely admit that. People looking at you funny all the time.
Yeah. Okay. People look at you like with like kind of like pity in their eyes. That's what I feel. Especially now there's so many new like young comedians coming. Yeah. You kind of like feel like, you're the future.
Like, this guy's still here.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. They look at me like I'm Paul Westlake. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not that old.
Yeah. I get that a lot too.
So, just to promote something, you're doing your solo show now, aren't you?
I have been doing. I've been doing Cuck up and around. I don't have any. I have to get some more dates for
what does it mean?
Summer.
Ray tried to explain the word cuck.
Yeah, cuck. It's
not cock. It's cuck.
It's cuck.
What does it mean?
It's short for cuckold.
Oh. So Ray was actually right. Yeah. I didn't believe him.
You should. He knows things. Okay. He does his research. He's got access to Google. They have Google in Scotland. Yeah. But he also cuck became, especially during the first presidential race when between like Trump and Hillary, then there was this like online insult that went around a lot that was like, so a cuck would be like a person who isn't sufficiently conservative, who would let other people take advantage of them, that kind of thing. So that was like the way to insult the left or even the center was to call them cucks, because they're too weak to take life by the balls and run around like they should, like a real man. It persists as an attitude and as an insult, but I think it also means like cuckold. It also means like literally like a man who would be raising a child who isn't his kind of thing. So there's all this kind of. It also relates to being a trans dad, where obviously we went through a process where like no parts of my body were used in the making of the kids. So it has that kind of connotation as well. And then I'm also extremely online, a little bit less so now. I'm getting better. Yeah. But it's about also online addiction and being addicted to the to like fighting online. I don't even fight online. I just watch fighting. Yeah. Like,
but that's exhausting as well.
It's awful. Like I can't go on Twitter because every single time I go on Twitter, there's something about J.K. Rowling. Like every single time. And at some point I'm like, this is not good for my blood pressure or and I don't learn anything from this. So
why would you?
Yeah. And then, but that's the thing when people like, all right, it's late at night and you think I'm just going to relax. So I'll go on social media. And then you get angry for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And now you think you're going to get a good night's sleep. Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Now if you, relax is really, that's my contribution.
Another contribution, another great one.
Rentoutuminen ja sosiaalinen media. Ne ei kyllä sovi.
Ei.
You were saying something.
But I will have this fall another show. Yeah. Because I'll have to do an artistic piece for my PhD.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to make that show about, frame it as though it's about bad relationships.
Yeah.
And then it should also be about like the relationship between the performer and the audience.
Yeah.
So to play with that. Yeah, I wish I could make it very cool and very meta, like, Stuart Lee. Yeah. But I don't know if I'm ever going to be that smart, so.
Yeah, well, then again, you don't have to be all that smart. You can just be like 15% of that smart and you can still be fucking good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your new name.
Stuart L. Stuart L.
Jamie. Stuart Lee.
Yeah, Jamie Lee.
Jamiel. The old horse. The middle-aged horse.
I just have to be bleeding through every show. That would be great.
Okay. Well, did you? We talked about before we started this that you said it's really hard to get the comedy memory thing that I asked you before. Did you find anything? Tämä on siis se, let's just say it in Finnish for the audience who are still listening. Yeah. Eli se komedia muisto tai mikä on ollut merkittävä sellainen, minkä mä kysyn kaikilta vierailta. You can still say it in English. That's okay.
I think one of the I mean, there have been so many fantastic moments, even just like watching open mic comedians. Yeah. I love watching so many failures where people's strategy for either going through the failure or trying to recover from it or get around it somehow. These are all very beautiful moments of panic and just flailing. But maybe like I just mentioned Stuart Lee, the man who works with failure as a positive tool. And I'm so very, very jealous of his work. But I saw him live in London when I happened to be there. I saw that he was performing in Leicester Square Theatre. So I just went and I saw, what was it, Content Provider, yeah. That's what it was. And that bastard, I'd never seen him live. And so he does this thing where he talks about, he spends the whole first 20 minutes talking about Trump. Yeah. And all the way that people are talking about it. And of course he does this thing where he's like, okay, this part of the audience over here is not getting this and these people are getting this. And it's his thing, of course, that 5 minutes into his work, it all breaks down. And the thing that he planned is obviously not happening. And he's just, improvising his way through a crowd that has fucked up his material. And then they go to the break. And he comes back and starts the second half. And he does the second half. And the first 20 minutes is about Brexit. Yeah. And it's almost word for word the exact same set, except it's now about Brexit, not Trump. Yeah. With all of the fuck up improvisations. Everything is just the same. Yeah. Both times, except for the topic is changed. And I'm watching it going, I hate this man so much. It was so wonderful just because I really don't think anybody, I hate to sound like I'm dissing the Finnish scene, but nobody here is writing to that level of precision. And this is a thing they do in the UK even much more than in the US, because the UK has Edinburgh and they have this concept of the 1 hour show that has a whole narrative arc and everything, and much more theatrical kind of background. Yeah. And just the writing was so good. I think that's maybe the last stand-up show I went to where I laughed and laughed out loud, I was laughing, Because, normally you go to a comedy show and when you laugh, you're like, good.
Yeah.
It's not a laugh. It's just like, that was nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was funny.
Yeah, good joke.
Yeah, but with Stuart Lee, I actually laughed out loud.
Yeah.
It'll never happen again, I'm sure.
Unless you see Stuart Lee again.
It's true.
Yeah, the Stuart Lee is something I've never really, he's not that familiar to me, but I know like few comics are, so that's like it's like God to them in a way.
Because he does comedy about the situation of comedy.
Yeah.
And he does it in a particular way where it looks like failure.
Yeah.
And then it isn't. And it's just, of course, he's been doing it for 30 years, and he at one point just failed a lot.
Yeah.
Just actual failure. But it's really, he's really cool to watch.
Yeah, it's something like you should, like it's really nice to, in a way, if you appreciate the kind of like the balls he has to do that in a way, because that would be something that it's you have to be really like, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. That level of just really throwing yourself out is like, or like Tig Notaro's appearance on Conan, where she just moved a stool around the room for, I don't know if you've seen that one where it's the stool with the comedian always has on stage, like she moves it and it makes like it makes a noise when she moves it, and she notices that it makes a noise, and then she just spends the rest of the time just making noise with the stool running around, like slowly creeping around the whole studio with it. And of course, everybody's dying with laughter because the idea that somebody would go on Conan, that it's such a coveted spot. Like, you need to go on Conan to get your career started, and she's gonna throw that away by just moving a chair is like the balls. Yeah,
that's something like you could do on an open mic club.
Yeah,
but then no, I'm gonna do it on TV.
Yeah,
that is something.
Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe they have money.
Maybe they're already secure.
They can be brave.
Yeah, or maybe it's some maybe they also can't stand the boredom of success.
Well, it's like the weirdest thing I've seen. The Maria Bamford.
Yeah.
It's kind of like well, why not? That's kind of like what you do. Yeah. In a way, it's really weird and funny and everything, and it's just something that people really like also that you do. Yeah. I mean, it would be weird if those people were telling like normal stuff.
Yeah, Maria would be another example of like somebody who I saw and just went, holy shit, you can do that? Yeah. Like that, and not that you want to do exactly what she's doing, because I think you need to have her specific mental illnesses to do what she's doing. But the way that, she just doesn't seem to give a fuck. Yeah. She had a really good, she was on the Mark Maron podcast maybe a month ago. Yeah. Lovely. It's so nice. Yeah. And I think it's really nice because now Maria Bamford, she's really big. Yeah. Like a big name. Yeah. I mean, selling out and everything. Yeah. It's like just the weird stuff, actually, people like it. And what was the show she did, which was so great, where it was, first she starts out just talking to the mirror. Yeah. Then she's one person, then two, then like four. Like performing to her parents. Yeah. And everything. Yeah. And that kind of, that's a little, like, it's a very obvious, comedy, stand-up about stand-up. Yeah. In the sense that it's about exposing the way that relationship changes to the audience depending on how many people are there and what the situation is. But I love how awkward the first few are. Yeah. Where it's only a couple people, and if they laugh, they're like, yeah, but it's almost not the same, but in a way, totally different kind of comedian. But Adam Sandler did the new stuff thing. It was also like filmed in different way where he's rehearsing it and like for few in a really small, and then going, and it was really, it's much nicer. It's much nicer to watch when it's not just one fucking place. Or like Neil Brennan's Three Mics. Yeah. Is it three? It's Three Mics. Yeah. That and I liked a lot of Bo Burnham stuff. Yeah. Like obviously I like stuff where you can see the container of comedy and people are like kind of messing with the form in order to try to find something. Yeah, that is true. But then again, I sometimes just want to watch like Brian Regan doing funny stuff. Yeah. That's also kind of like, I need this now. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you have like a recommendation for our millions of listeners? What did I think the last, I'm behind on, because I'm a fairly new dad, I'm radically behind on all the movies and all the television series and all that kind of. Oh, I know what I'm going to go see next week. They're going to be in Helsinki. Snarky Puppy, a fantastic jazz band. And I've now completed my middle-aged, middle-class dad, white dad transformation. Yeah, I'm going to go buy some gold audio cables after this and get some hi-fi. But Snarky Puppy are a fantastic jazz outfit, and they're going to be in Helsinki maybe for the first time next week. I think they got one sold out show, and then they have another that still has some tickets, but I'm just very excited.
That's too late for this. This is going to come out.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. But like listen to some jazz.
Yeah, that is good. But that's weird because that is the middle. I also have like lots of vinyls now. Jazz.
It's messed up. But I try to listen to a lot of the new pop music. I've tried to Taylor Swift. I watched the concert. Nothing is memorable. It doesn't connect with me at all. But if 3 people are on a trumpet and 2 guys are on drums and they're all like playing different songs at once, I'm like, it speaks to me. Like I don't know what it is.
And I remember when people when I started my jazz thing, I'm not really, I don't know that much about it, but people were like, well, this is easier to start with. I was like, but it's not. And then I realized, well, I like this noisy stuff. Like kind of like really chaotic. And I'm like, this
you like that?
Works. Yeah.
Okay. You have to listen to Snarky Puppy.
Okay.
In fact, you should probably go to the gig if you can get a ticket. It's I think on next Wednesday they still have Kulttuuritalo. But there's like 12 of them.
Oh, that is
They have
cool.
multiple drummers at the same time, and I love just watching the sheer crazy joy of a bunch of people like on stage with each other, and they're just they're surprising each other. They're playing for the audience, but they're playing for each other because they're so deep into the the theory of what they're able to do, and then they're just kind of like, well, what if I do this? And everybody's like, whoa, I love that.
It's like sport in a way, like football. It's changing all the time, and you're doing this, then I'm going to come here. It's really nice. Yeah, that's a good recommendation. I have to write it down. What was it again? Snarky. I've heard of it.
Snarky.
Thank you. Thank you, my Canadian friend.
Snarky pupu.
Snarky pupu. That's a bit different. Are you satisfied? Did we cover everything you needed to?
I'm satisfied.
Do you have something to promote? You have a podcast with Valamies?
That's right. It's called Queer and Dumb.
Yeah, where can you find it? Anywhere?
On Spotify and maybe Apple.
Apple, yeah. On wherever you
on
get
everywhere.
Your podcast.
Yeah, and he's dumb.
Yeah.
And I'm queer.
Yeah.
And he had this idea for a podcast where he's like, why don't I ask you all the dumb questions about being queer? And I was like, oh, so it's like just the stuff that I do regularly every day. Okay. I'm like, that'll be fun for me. But actually it is nice. It's also nice because now we get like guests on
to ask stupid questions.
And it's actually kind of nice. Yeah. And what I hope about it is that people will like, even comedians would be like, because I know they have questions. Just like ask the dumb questions, and then we will answer them.
Yeah, that is good. I don't want to ask anything because I'm know-it-all.
We'll have to set up like an anonymous tip box
like,
where people can be
what
like,
does this? Yeah. Well, okay. Well, thank you for this.
Kiitos.
Hyvä, että onnistui viimein tämä.
Mikä?
Tämä podcastin nauhoitus.
Kiitoksia.
Ole hyvä. Mutta hei, kiitos. Do you have like where people can find where you are?
I'm usually at Happening Fish on like Insta and all the other places.
Yeah. Joten etsikää sieltä at Happening Fish.
Happening Fish.
Ja heikkivilja.fi ja raychampino.com ja suomenstandupclub.fi. Kaikki mahdolliset keikat löytyy. Ja kiitos kun kuuntelitte ja ensi jaksossa nähdään taas. Moi!